everybody. Welcome to Resilient Now podcast. So happy you are here. We're back. I took a little bit of a hiatus, but I'm back. We have a very strong resilient story for you to hear today. And hopefully it's going to help somebody. That's why we're here to, tell you, have honest conversations with these speakers of that they've been through things, and hopefully this will help you get to the other side of whatever it is that you're going through right now and make you feel like you're not alone, because you're not. There's people who've gone through these things and they're on the other side. And, our mission here is to bring you those people. So, Deb, I'm really excited. I know Deb. She's actually a friend, and I'm very excited to have her. Thank you for making time for us and, pulling you away from your family and everything. Thank you for being here.
Of course, good to be here with you.
Yay. So, usually how I start the podcast is I like to ask everybody, what does resilient now mean to you?
Well, I think in life, like we just hit a bunch of things, whether you call them storms or whatever it is. And I think I used to think resilience was like put your head down, you just get real straight and strong and just go. But I think resilience takes a lot of flexibility. And so it's not that we're not strong or have a good base, but it's learning to move when there's a storm and to just keep going. And so I think it's a lot of mindset work because a lot of things will push us down, and the tendency is to say, I just can't go anymore, or I'm stuck. And we don't have to be. We learn how to move forward.
Yes, and rain and storms come and they come hard, but they're also a point where they stop, So that's always hopeful. Um, all right, well, I want to get us started. I want you to, tell us your story, tell us what happened, how you were before it and how you are after, what got you through it, and I'll let you just talk.
Yeah. So I was gonna share about an accident I had, and I feel like I should say, like, this is not the only thing that has happened in my life because
Mhm.
even like when I was young, I was in a car accident. You can see I've got a scar. It ripped my lip off, and I know it's kind of gross, but I shouldn't be able to
Sorry.
talk right now. And I can, but I was young when that happened, so I didn't think about that. I just went through it. But as an adult, I had an accident where I slipped on black ice and landed right on my kneecap, and it shattered into five pieces.
Oh.
So it was really, I was busy. I was too busy to have this happen, in this busy part of life. And I had purpose and I had a lot of work to do, and my kids were younger.
Mm.
So I have four children, and that.
What were the ages of the kids at the time when this
Well,
happened?
well, the younger two, I have like kind of two sets, I say, right? The first set are 15 months apart, second set are 13 months apart. And those younger two were both in diapers. One was in like
Okay.
pull-ups and the other was in little tab diapers. And the other two were elementary school.
Okay.
So all these kids, a million things going on at work, and I was just out, and it's just one of those things. And like, how does this even happen? And I will tell you, adrenaline is amazing. We don't
Mm.
realize the things our bodies can do. Adrenaline somehow allowed me to straighten my leg. I don't know how I did that, and get up
Mm.
on my feet to see if I could walk home. Um, but I definitely could not. So I called my husband and I said, I might pass out and I need to get to the hospital. And here's
Mm.
where I am, but I need to sit down and we need to go. So I went to the hospital and they said, we need to get you some morphine. And of course, I'm this busy mom of four. I don't have time for this. I'm like, is that really necessary? Don't you think that's a bit extreme? And they said, oh, no,
Mm.
no. This is why morphine was made, this right here. I said, okay. So that's when they saw, it's in pieces. They said, you're going to need surgery. I tried to ask them if they could just remove my kneecap, if they could give me an artificial. And they said, no, like, you're too young for an artificial. It would need to keep being replaced.
Right.
If we take it out, you'll never get full range. We have to piece it back together. And that was going to mean a lot of metal. And this was my right leg, and I was the family chauffeur.
Mm-hmm.
with the minivan. And so, of course, my big concern laying in the ER is telling them, you don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
I move the entire family. This is what I do. And they said, yeah, you're not going to be able to drive for months.
Yeah.
So it was just devastating. And then they talked about a walker, using a walker. And I said, no, that's for old people.
Room for any of these things
I'm
to
like,
happen.
that's not going to happen. And the doctor, I think just trying to appease me, said, listen, if you can do crutches, we will give you crutches. I was in good shape at the time. The physical therapist after the surgery walked in with a walker. I said, take it away. And they said, if you can do it,
Fighter over there. I see that.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. I was just stubborn. I was just stubborn. I couldn't deal with a walker. So I ended up with crutches. And then I understood why they were trying to push for a walker, but I did it with crutches. And I remember telling my husband as I'm like on the ground in pain before we got to the hospital,
Hmm.
I said, this is gonna be a long process.
Yeah.
And I said, two things. I said, it's a really good thing that I have two legs.
Hmm.
This is one. So I was in a really good headspace at the time, even though this was happening. And I said, and I recognized I'm going to get discouraged and I'm going to want to give up. Don't let me give up because like I have to set now that I'm going to do this. And so I talked to them after the surgery and the doctor said for this to heal after we put in one giant screw, like 13 little pins, mesh wiring that was ugh,
Hmm.
it was gross. They've had me in an immobilizer, so it goes from your thigh all the way down by your lower leg. You can't bend it.
Yeah.
He said, you're not going to be able to bend this for 2 months.
Oh my goodness. And you have little kids.
Yeah, if you want it to heal. And I said, that sounds like a lot of physical therapy.
Yeah.
And he just said, "Oh yeah, my doctor had the worst bedside manner of any." He was a very good surgeon, but he's like, "Oh yeah, it's going to be bad."
I guess that's what matters. He's a good surgeon. So,
He was a
okay.
good surgeon.
Always
And
had your nurses. Hopefully they were nicer.
yes, yeah, they were great. They were great. I was not prepared for the amount of pain and that the pain just wouldn't go away.
Wow.
So,
Even with the meds they gave you and everything.
oh, even with the meds,
Wow.
I discovered very early and very quickly that they give you two kinds of meds. One you would call like the good stuff, right? Like the meds you want.
Mhm.
They don't take away the pain. They just make you not care that you have pain and they make
Got
you
it.
tired and out of it. And with, especially with the little kids, like I needed my brain. So
Sure.
I learned just like standard, like ibuprofen, Tylenol was a better help
So how did you do that? Like what did you go tap into to be able to do that?
to
Deal with
go
that
through.
pain. To deal with that pain.
Ugh, well, I mean, honestly, like it was a couple things because some of the time it was especially at night when I wanted to sleep and I couldn't bend my leg and it just hurt and hurt and hurt. I mean, what can you do? You can't run away from it. You try to
No.
get distracted through it. So what do? You just breathe and you it reminded me of like being in labor, right? Where you have like the pain coming and you can't get
You
away
can't
from
run
it.
away.
You
I
can't.
wanted to leave the hospital when I was in labor.
Yeah.
I was like, can I leave now? And they're like, no, you're about to have a baby. So
You can't. And I remember somewhere in that like prepping for labor was this idea of like you have to just let it happen,
mm,
which is horrible because we can fight and we can try to get our mental state right, but some things like you can't run away. You just have
mm,
to go through it.
you have to go through it.
Yeah, but I also know myself enough to know that like I'm a competitive person and I do better when I have goals and like I'm the person who wants to go to the gym and have someone yell at me.
Yeah.
What? So,
That'll be another resilient story. Okay.
yes, yes. So I love Reese's peanut butter cups, and my husband got me the little minis Reese's.
Uh-huh.
So
Uh-huh.
every day I made a goal for myself. And if I accomplished my goal, I would have my mini Reese's peanut butter cup.
Hey, whatever works.
Yep. So like one of my first goals was like, can I get up the stairs tonight?
Mm,
So it was usually one trip up and down the stairs. But I specifically remember there was this day, and my goal was I was going to go over to the coffee pot and get my own cup of coffee. That was my goal. If I did that, I accomplished everything. So I take my crutches because I couldn't stand long. I
Yeah.
go over to the coffee pot, I pour my cup of coffee, and then I look around and I'm like, I have no way to carry this cup of coffee back
No.
over to the couch. So at that
And no little
moment,
ones to help you because they're so little still.
they were too little. I wasn't going to hand them hot
Coffee,
coffee.
hot
The other
coffee.
ones
Yeah.
were at school. And I realized then I could either cry or I could laugh. So, I started laughing and I couldn't
Good.
stop. I was like, I got my coffee. I'm still getting my little Reese's peanut butter cup and I'm going to stand here and take a couple sips and that's it.
That's it. And
That's
that's it.
yeah.
Oh my goodness. I know you have a very strong faith. I don't know if you want to share what you do for a living. So
Sure.
I know that played into it as well.
Yeah.
Um,
So I am a pastor and I also work as a hospice chaplain. And I think part of what got me through was not just faith, but it was certain things in faith that I was practicing. So at that
mhm.
time in my life, I was fully living into this purpose that God had for me. I was in the middle of planting a church of all
Okay.
times for this to happen, but it was so helpful to have that focus and know that, like, yes, this is pain and this is highly inconvenient to not be
Mhm.
able to drive, to all these things, but it didn't stop the work to be done and that it didn't change my purpose. And I also remember learning as a pastor in seminary having this advice about like people who give you gifts,
Mhm.
right? Like maybe they make something homemade or they're baking something and how a lot of times we want to say no, no, no. I don't want that. I'm not going to accept it. And when we do that, they are giving and they're showing love, and we take away their opportunity to give and show love.
Yeah.
And so I always knew that here and applied it there. But I found myself for the first time in a position where I had to not only accept help, I had to ask for it.
Mm.
And I think that was one of the hardest things. Like the pain was awful, right? The slow process was awful, but having to ask for help was just I'd never had to do that before. I
Wow.
was the one who would go and help others. And so I have wonderful neighbors. They took turns bringing meals. There was a couple at the church would go to the grocery store for me. I had to ask
That's beautiful. It's
people
just
to
beautiful.
pick my kids up at school.
Wow.
And at the time, I kind of forgot about this. We also had an exchange student at the time.
Oh, wow.
There were 5 kids in the house. I had a high school, but she was very helpful. It was good to have her there, but it was also, they got home one day and she goes, "I forgot my computer at school." And I went, "Oh, okay." So I had to get her another ride to go
Mhm.
back to the school and get her computer. So it was this thought of, am I inconveniencing people?
Yeah.
And I
So
had
you had to accept the love and the yeah, and the
yeah,
help.
I had to
That's amazing.
yeah.
So you just told me that you sit with families for, hospice, you do that. Do you think that this situation made you stronger because as a person it brought up your strength, so you can do what you do like now for work? Because I imagine it must be so hard to sit with a family and see them, so distraught with, a family member just dying in front of their eyes. So can you talk about that? Do you mind?
No, yeah, I think the same way we talk about like pain and you have to go through it.
Hmm.
That's true with the pain of grief too. We have a term in hospice where if I'm like reporting to another hospice team member, I will report if a family is grieving appropriately. It's not that, no, the family's not grieving, or yes, they're grieving. Of course they're grieving.
Yeah.
Do they seem to be walking through it okay, or are they
Everybody grieves differently, right?
everybody grieves differently, right? So
Hmm.
even like when I say appropriately, it's not like here's the checklist. It's no, are you walking through grief?
Right.
Or are you doing the thing I wanted to do with my leg and run away and say,
Yeah.
no, no, I don't want to deal with it. But I think it's also, I think we do best in helping others when we can relate.
Mhm.
So we all have really hard things we've been through, but I believe that God walks with us through those. So since I've been through that, and I know that God was with me in that, I am able to use that and identify with you're having pain,
Mhm.
whatever the kind of pain is, right? If it's grief, if it's someone who's actually dying and there's things going on in their
Right.
body,
Physical pain.
right? And you can't run away from it.
Mm-mm.
And I mean, ultimately, right? Like, what are we trying to run away from? What are we afraid of? Many times
Yeah.
we're afraid of dying. And people are like, how can you do that? How can you work with dying people? And I always
It's
find,
almost how could you not?
how,
You know?
how could you not like giving hope and giving comfort? But also, let me tell you, no one is worried about stuff that doesn't matter when they're dying. So they're ready to share life experience, to say, these are the things I'm really worried about, or I have this concern for my family. And even if they've been running from it, they're ready to deal with it and to walk through it.
Wow. Well, I'm really glad that you're there and helping so many. And, you have there's a special place in heaven for you. You're going to have a lot of welcomers when you get there. Um, Thank you for coming today. Thank you for sharing this resilient story. I always close the conversation with what's your gratitude? What's your top? Because I think gratitude can pretty much also get you through almost anything. So, what's your top gratitude today? You can say more than one if you like.
Well, I mean, I guess I always have to say my family, right? That's got to be on there because they are just awesome. But I'll add a knee gratitude from my knee. I started doing hot yoga, and as I was doing that, and as I do other things, I remember the time I couldn't move it at all, and so it is like a built-in reminder. I am thankful I can bend my leg. I have full
Mhm.
range back. I
Mhm.
am thankful I can play kickball with my kids. I'm thankful I
So
can take
great.
the water slide at the water park.
How old are the kids now?
The kids are 15, 14, 10, and 9.
And you got through this. Look at you. Some people would have taken the easy way out and just checked out and you just taking drugs the whole time. And, you are an amazing mom. You are a strong woman. You give so much to so many. Thank you. It is an honor and a privilege to have had you here today. For everybody else, thank you for coming. Now, remember, there's a free website. You will hear Deb. She'll be on the website soon. And it's resilientnowpodcast.com. And there's a resource page. So let's say you know somebody who's drinking bothers you. There's a link to Al-Anon. So let's say you have a problem with drinking. There's a link to AA. We have it's a resource page. So look up, there's some things that can get you through the day, through the week. So thank you for being with us. It's always an honor, to have everybody here listening to our speakers and hopefully, you can move on and just be better and have a better day as a result. And you can listen to these speakers free over and over again on the website, or you can listen on Apple, Spotify, or YouTube. Please join. Thank you so much. Make it a resilient week and have a beautiful week.